Well, welcome to the Keaton Nelson Show. Today we got an awesome guest for you, Justin Brox. Thank you so much for being on the show, man.
Absolutely, buddy. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, 100%, man. So you're, I read on your Instagram bio, you're a veteran.
Yeah. Yep. I did 8 years in the Marine Corps.
Well, thank you for your service, man. Tell me a little bit about that. What were you doing in the Marine Corps? Anything crazy?
I was one of those guys straight out of high school that wasn't in love with the idea of college. School already had sucked enough life out of me. In the Marine Corps, at the time, business and all that stuff, that wasn't on my mind. I was just like, I want to do something cool and get out of here. And it just seemed like a cool way to go and get out of town and see stuff. And went in and I actually became an aviation operations specialist. So I worked a lot heavily with OPSOs and pilots. So I went in and was working with like guys building flight schedules, working with air traffic controllers and just kind of building plans. And so my first unit, I was a C-130 guy, and I was their head flight scheduler. Went to Iraq some with them, and they did a lot of like medevacs, battlefield illumination, just cargo, general transport, all that kind of stuff. And then my last 4 years I did in the Western Pac. So I was with F-18 squadrons, and then we went and did also my last year I was a transport guy for VIP. So we flew people like a lot of generals and like John McCain and people like that. So I had a good couple of tours because I got to meet a lot of good people. And at one time I thought I was going to stay in there forever. But had kids, not a great place for raising kids. And but I got to go to about 19 different countries while I was in, and I got to climb like Mount Suribachi and do some stuff that most people never get to do. So I had a really good experience.
It's cool, man. How old are you now?
34.
34, still young. How long have you been out of service?
9 years.
9 years.
Came out in the end of 2013, so not quite 9 years. It'll be 9 years at the end of this year.
Gotcha. So you got a wife and kids. How old are your kids?
Oh, we got a 11-year-old boy and a 9-year-old girl.
Cool, man. I got two of my own, 5-year-old girl and 1-year-old boy. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's I know those ages. And,
yeah, I'm busy.
Sure. Yeah. Mine now, we're kind of in that period where they don't talk to you until they need something, and normally it's expensive. But they're good. I'm sure I think this is the lowest maintenance period for us, 11 and 9. So
probably.
I know the teen years are coming to hit us again, but we're enjoying a little break in between little kids and teenagers.
That's nice, man. That's cool. Plus you focus on your business a little bit more.
A little, yes, definitely. It was harder when I first got out. They were little like yours.
Yeah.
And even though my wife is a trooper, she was they're doing a lot more, and so she would kind of require me to reinforce a lot more than I do now. So I'm able to focus a little bit more for sure.
Nice, man. So you sell insurance and then you train insurance agents, is that right?
Yeah. So when I got out of the Marine Corps, started. My dad was a Medicare supplement guy. He would sell, he'd go out and find people who were paying too much for the Medicare supplement. And I saw him go from, carpet salesman at Sears making nothing to, being able to, he never got like rich, but he was, I saw him climb out of poverty where he was, doing well. And so I knew that it was a real thing because I had seen that. And so my goal when I got out was to replace my military income and benefits and all that so I could take care of my family. I didn't have like these grandiose business aspirations, but when I came out and started doing that, I was going door to door and buying like cheap direct mail leads and going out and helping people. And when I saw the reward for the effort, it started kind of, I think, re-hardwiring like what I understood about what I wanted to do. And, I started watching marketers online that would talk about stuff and this is back, 2014, 15 was the Facebook ads boom, man. So
Big time.
I started watching guys that were talking about that, and they were talking about like chiropractors and stuff. And I was like, well, I'm just going to see if I can use the same stuff for what I do. And I had some gold rush times in 2015. Honestly, if you don't know, now I know, if you find a honey hole of marketing, you better spend as much as you can to get as much out of it as possible, because they do dry up, because marketers will come in and exploit all that stuff eventually. But I had a good honey hole, and it helped me get really ahead by just staying up and learning my own marketing. And so we had kind of that bump, and then, I've had some other big wins along the way. But the more you would win, for me, it wasn't like, oh, okay, I got there and now I'm comfortable. It was like, well, if that's possible, then what else is possible? And we just kept growing. And now, we have 27 staff members. We do annual, conference called Medicare Con, where we bring agents from all over together. Ours is actually next week. So we have 350 plus, about 380 actually, agents coming this year to that conference. We do a lot of we do some marketing for them, more on the like web design front. Paid ads is just rough to do for other people, because the expectation is hard, because they have to work them, and some people just don't have the salt to work them. So we do a lot of recruiting, training. We have a virtual training platform called Go Guru University. And then we have a CRM that we developed, a SaaS software as a service product, product that we sell that's supposed to help these agents. And so we developed a lot of products around that brand that we created, and we just created this brand by putting out content, kind of documenting the journey and the successes. And turns out people were looking for somebody to be a beacon and show it. I by no means was the most successful person in my niche. I was probably on the board for sure. We were going on a lot of carrier incentive trips and meeting the top agents in the country. I was just the top one that started documenting it. And Gary Vee was right.
Yeah.
Start putting stuff out there. If you do it tenaciously, quantity over quality at first. So many people were worried about like having the perfect video. I was just like, I'm just going to put everything out there. And now that we have the attention and we've been able to monetize some of that attention, we've been able to hire people to help me increase the quality, because I'm not the quality guy, I'm the quantity guy. But we have, graphic designers and videographers and software developer that can help me streamline that stuff now. And it's been very, very effective. So yeah, that's kind of the elevator pitch of our journey there.
That's cool, man. So are you making more money from teaching people how to do this stuff, or are you making more from actually selling it yourself? Just out of curiosity.
Yeah, no, it's a good question. Actually, our revenue from insurance sales is still bigger. So we still have we have one small office we bought that had 5,000 Medicare clients in South Haven, which is about an hour and a half from here. We have 3 employees up there, 2 agents, 1 administrative employee. And then I have another office here in Tupelo, separate from my marketing office. And we have, how many is over there? So we have 3 administrative employees, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 inside sales agents there. And those 2 offices are extremely profitable, because we've been pumping so much, like the Facebook boom that we put in there, broadcast television, ads, all the direct mail strategies going into the office that we purchased and that we're kind of pushing into our new one. All that attention over time is compounding. And now, honestly, the marketing budget for those offices has come down this year, and we're writing more business just because of the attention. We don't stop marketing, but you just learn and you hone it in, where you need it. And I don't think we could do much more business without growing those teams more. But the compounding residual element of Medicare and health insurance is very strong. And those offices are definitely our biggest income generators, but I mean, I'm not going to lie. The course side, the SaaS side, the the recruiting side, which does pour back into the insurance commissions too.
Sure.
So you can get some, but those spreads are smaller. That's a newer thing to us. We really didn't start recruiting agents because we didn't feel like we were there yet until the beginning of 2021. But that's growing pretty quickly as well. But the short answer is we're making more money on insurance commissions, but the course side is growing the course. I hate the course side. There is a course element to it.
The education or training and
the education, the training, the event side, and the software as a service side, but they feed one another too.
Sure.
Because insurance is like the oldest multi-level marketing industry. Being able to provide those resources helps me, recruit people too, because they want to work with people who are providing the resources. So
that's a good point. Yeah. So I'm interested. I have a couple of clients that are like the health tech space, or like they're startups and they're selling to employers, or they're selling to health plans and things like that. I know this is getting real nichey. So if this episode's not for you, I totally get it. But I'm really interested. Like, what are you selling and who are you selling to when you're selling this insurance?
Yeah, so our target market, and we do believe in riches and niches. Our target market is the turning 65 Medicare beneficiary. So they've been on group coverage their whole life. Now they have the option to go on Medicare. Many of them are retiring around that time. And so we're helping them transition to individual Medicare, which normally they're more scared of it. It's a huge pain point for them. So it's a good target market, and there just happens to be like the number they throw out there is about 11,000 roughly a day turning 65 in America. Oh, wow. So those are a lot of them. And we go after that. But it's also people over 65 that maybe made the wrong choices, or maybe they made a choice and that price is going up. So we're trying to help them get the price down. In benefit shoppers. I'm sure you've seen the Joe Namath Medicare ads. They go after the same people. We just try to do it in a less tacky way than that. But that's that demographic. But we also, our secondary markets are under 65 health on the individual side. So your self-employed people, your people who they have access to a group plan through a spouse, but the rate is super high on the group plan, and so they like to shop it individually. Those types of markets, or like, say the guy's turning 65 and his wife is 62, well, she's going to need individual health insurance because he's retiring to get her through. So that's a secondary market. And a tertiary market for us on that side would be, some mild retirement planning, which we're trying to get more and more into, life insurance and annuity side. That would be the smallest quantity of applications we submit, but there are some rather large commissions on that side as well.
Yeah, I was about to say, you can make some coin selling life insurance,
Yeah. So, and annuities as well. So if you get some people that are in that decumulation phase where they need to take their money out of the market because they don't have especially your people that maybe they have 300,000, 400,000 in a 401k, like to leave it in the market. Over time, we're absolute believers in the market. I'm never going to naysay the market. I hate when I see insurance agents go online and they're like, the market's so rocky, and that's silly. Like, I do believe the market's going to go up and up and up. But if you're in retirement and you're living off of some of that money, you can't afford to go through a dip, right? So you don't have 3 years to recover. If I'm talking to you about retiring, I'm like, hey, put all your money in there. If it dips, just hold, right? You'll be fine. But that annuity market's good because we can put them in products that do not have as much upside potential as the market, but have zero potential to lose, and then also can give them some like guaranteed income. We call it I didn't come up with this. The American College came up with it, but it's the flooring approach to retirement. So it's giving them an absolutely predictable amount of monthly income, so that they know what they have to live off of. There's no guesswork in it. It's not like, well, if the housing bubble happens again, then we have half of what we thought we did for 3 years. So we just, that's a good market. It's an evolving market for us. But still Medicare and health insurance is what we try to go after. And then we use that lead flow to find some of those other things.
So let's say people are listening to this podcast and they're making like, less than 50K a year, 30K or whatever, would you recommend them getting into selling Medicare, becoming an agent? What's that process like? How hard is it to get into it? And then like, what's the upside once you're in it?
Yeah. So the good thing about insurance is there is a barrier for entry. It's not a huge barrier. But sometimes if you've noticed, there are some industries that are good industries, but there's no barrier to entry. So people just flood in and say they're an expert all of a sudden.
Yep.
They didn't even have to take any test to do anything. And so insurance is not hard to get into. The life and health insurance exam is not difficult, but it requires, okay, I got to go take this in person or virtual course for a week. I have to get past this pre-certification. I have to schedule a proctored exam. I have to go now. I have to pay for these things. And then I have to go and take the exam and I have to pass, right? Just that does weed out some of the garble. It's like of course I have money in cryptocurrency and I'm starting to buy into the NFT craze. I don't really understand it.
I still don't get it, man.
I don't get it. Honestly, your wall behind you looks like it's the NFTs. You should be selling those for $48,000.
Yeah.
But if you get some of those markets, because of how unregulated there are, it's like people just like lunge in and be like, I'm a crypto expert. And I'm like, what is a crypto expert? Like,
yeah, how'd you become an expert? It's all brand new. Like
it's all new. It's extremely volatile. With insurance, at least there's the threshold, and then it's regulated. So as bad a rap as insurance agents can get, because there are some horror stories, when they do start doing things that are illegal, they'll take their license away. They can go to prison for
Right.
things really illegal, but they'll take their license away for things that aren't even illegal, that are just against like compliance standards or DOI regulation. So being regulated can weed out some of the riffraff. So once you are over that hurdle, it can level the playing field for like competitiveness. Now, I'm not the type of recruiter that tells people like, get your license, get into Medicare, you'll be rich. Medicare is a real thing, a real, avenue to create, great wealth. But the first, I would say 3 years for most people, even when you're really good and you're working your ass off, is hard, because it's not a get rich quick scheme. It's a get rich slow, because you're building compounding residual. You make money on clients if they stay on the books, if they stay with you, right? So whereas
okay, I get it. I'm like, I can't imagine the commissions are too high when someone's paying, I don't know, $200 a month or something like that. And
some of them are paying zero because it's government subsidized, but you still get standard commissions on it. Because it's not based on a percentage, it'd be based on a regulated amount because it's coming from government stipend.
Yeah.
But it's basically, if it was just the first year commission that you got and nothing after that, it would not be worth it to even get into it. It's the keeping clients on the books and building a business where you can keep it. You get to where you have, just in general numbers, if you had 1,000 clients on the books, well, you're making, and they're active, then you're making 22 to 30,000 a month off that 1,000 clients.
Just residual.
Yeah. And that's before you go out and cross sell them or write anything else. That's just from the basic Medicare plan. So it's about getting a quantity of them on there and keeping them happy, putting them on the right plan. And then eventually, as you get bigger, you want to hire some administrative team members that can help. If they have a change of address or if they have a claims issue, you want to be able to help them with that kind of stuff.
Yeah, you don't want to do that for 1,000 different people.
Right. Yeah.
That sounds like a nightmare.
When you start out and you're under, 250, maybe even under 300 clients, you can do all that yourself. But there's a breaking point where it's like, if the service work is starting to get in my way of acquiring new clients, and now I need to hire somebody to help me with that. So it's that's just typical business scaling. Any business.
Yeah, any business. Yeah. Now, I mean, from what you're saying, 1,000 clients is, you said about 20,000 a month or something like that.
Yeah.
I can imagine, like, what's a good week for sales for like a typical insurance agent? Are they selling like one person a day? Are they selling?
So when I would say 1 to 2 a day is the range for most people starting out. Now we have, like in my core offices, we have guys, like we have a guy this week that wrote 44.
Oh, dang.
But like those are, but then he might have a week next week where he writes 10. But those are your so we have a guy that probably averages, 19 to 20 a week in the off season. But then in the on season, which is our annual enrollment period, typically those numbers double just because of the
Wow.
but there is some of that is service, like it's changing your own client's plan or something like that. So sometimes it's about, I would say 50% of the surge. So if the business doubles, then 25% of that overall business is internal replacement. But that's all part of it, keeping your clients happy. So
yeah. But it's you said it's like the biggest or the original MLM, right?
I don't know if I'm the first person to say that, but I've said it several times before that, MLM can have, so
Negative.
To me, a pyramid scheme is if somebody can't like go past the person on top of them, and recruiting is incentivized over actually doing the job. So I don't want to say that like you can come into the business and never recruit anybody and make a lot of money. Like, you know what I mean? So it's not necessary, but at the same time, it is multi-level. So it is an MLM. It's just a more mature MLM. Some MLMs come in and create a structure that makes them doomed from the start to me, because they'll have a lot of pizzazz and then they'll fizzle out because people eventually are like, this is bullshit. What are we selling? A lot of air purifiers and makeup, cosmetic products, stuff like that. They're extremely overpriced. Insurance is not priced because of all the levels in it. What happens is insurance companies are that's just their marketing budget, because they might have brands, but a lot of the ones we have don't even put a lot of their money into branding. Their marketing is their brokerage sales distribution. So that's where those commissions come from, is that's what they would spend on marketing otherwise. They've just decided it's more effective currently to use our salespeople to market us than to go out and spend,
money on branding,
billions of dollars on TV ads and stuff.
So what, when someone becomes an insurance agent, from what you're saying, it sounds like they're not getting paid a salary, or is there some sort of base? Or
you can. So when you're an insurance agent, you can go, like we have people that work for us that are salaried plus commission. Their commission is lower than it would be if they went out on their own. But we also put them into a system where we're paying for lead flow, where we're paying for their phones, we're paying for their internet expenses, we're edifying them, all kinds of stuff, uniforms potentially, like all kinds of different things and perks, and they get to piggyback off of our brand name and training and everything. But then we have general downline agents that are 100% 1099 commission. And those people, we have to tell them, like, a lot of times they'll like, well, why can't I get the support that guy gets? And I'm like, well, he takes a lot lower commission than you do, and he works in an office with us. If you're out doing it on your own, you're a business owner, so you're going to have to take on more of the risk and expense. Right. And some people think they want to be a business owner, and then turns out they don't have the stomach for it.
Yeah, there's not a lot that's easy about it. I will say there's benefits to owning a business, but there's a lot of challenges, that's for sure. Yep. I mean, if you're worried about paying your phone bill or your internet and your office space or whatever, I think it's a clear sign right off the bat. You probably shouldn't be diving right into business. Now, is there any, like, other than the exam and the startup, of like, any fees that are associated? Like, does the 1099 have to pay you? It's probably just commission split, or is there like a annual fee, or like?
So what? So the most of the time on the general agent downline, if somebody's coming into it and they're they're going to be their own business.
Mhm.
We provide them with some software, some things like that. That's kind of the value add of being under someone, is some software, maybe some training platforms, help with their contracting with the carriers, but their commissions are paid directly from the insurance companies. We're an intermediary, so that insurance company will look at it and be like, okay, you're at what they call street level. That's what a new agent would come in at, and they have that defined street. And if that's 21% of this premium or 100% of it, depends on the product. Like final expense or life insurance might be 100% at street, or sometimes even higher than that, sometimes lower. But then on Medicare supplement, it might be 21%. Medicare Advantage, it might be a fixed rate, but they're getting this street level direct to them. And then whatever level we have over that, we're grabbing the difference. So, so they call them field marketing organizations or independent marketing organizations. It would be like what we are. Our margin's all what we've earned by volume over street. Now, sometimes you get a guy that comes in and he's street and he's under you, and then he starts writing a ton of business. Well, he can climb too within that, because, and there's even a lot of carriers have thresholds for if that person came in under you and eventually they're doing more business than you, they can get out from under you and go somewhere else. It's not like they're imprisoned there forever. So, so they're safe.
I'm like trying to figure out, like, if someone to start doing this, like, is that how much money are they dishing out of their pocket to invest in this? It's not like a 4-year degree. It's not $40,000 more, but
you could be for definitely. There's one test you can get a discount on it, is the AHIP that you need to take is $125. The FFM test for Obamacare is free, and then your licensing course plus a test, probably another couple hundred. So, I mean, really, you could
less
be
than $1,000.
I'd say less than 500. You could be outright business. Now, the real cost comes into marketing and getting in front of people. That's the most expensive thing,
Right.
Short of scaling. And eventually scaling becomes expensive because you have payroll and staff and all that. But marketing is
what's some hacks for, like, we'll get into more like just the business stuff. I mean, like you said, anyone can become an insurance agent. People become real estate agents all the time. People, like, quote unquote, go into business or 1099, and then they don't know how to get any leads. How do you go out and find these leads? What are the different methods that you use, or do you find that are super effective in your industry? And just to get some tips and value to people listening if they are trying to get their business running.
So my big push has always been to try to get my phone ringing, or people reaching out to me. I started off working very, very cold traffic where you'd knock on the door and you'd have to try to get people to let you in and stuff like that. I did do that. I mean, I was writing like one a day doing that. And you can survive on one a day. But less than one a day is hard to survive on in the beginning until you have your renewals built up. But ultimately, we're always trying to get the phone ringing. So if I'm trying to get the phone ringing, so like sales letters, tri-folded envelope, direct mail sales letters, where you're, making a convincing notion that someone should use you and call you for your expertise. And that goes back to like Dan Kennedy, I think, style marketing.
The direct response. Yeah.
It still works, especially in the Medicare population. We do use broadcast television, but I'm not going to tell somebody to pop on and start doing broadcast TV. It's expensive. But Facebook is the great equalizer. One of the traps people get stuck in is when they're brand new and have no money, trying to start a website. Excuse me. I sneeze right there. Don't edit that out. That's real. But when people come in, I'm not saying not to have a website or to pop up a landing page or something, but when you don't have a lot of money, like, or you don't have revenue coming in, you're not ready to invest. You can get sucked into the trap of trying to work on SEO and stuff like that, which is real, but is an extremely long-term investment.
Right.
And, we do some of that for people, but we're always looking for people that have, substantial marketing budgets, because you really need to be able to commit a lot to it, because it takes a lot of resources and time. Facebook ads it is still probably the biggest equalizer of digital media. They're much more expensive than they used to be, but if you don't believe the guys that are still saying it, they're still underpriced in comparison, because I pay for broadcast television, and I pay for sending mass quantity of direct mail letters to develop inbound phone calls, and all that stuff works, and it develops super high quality lead. But when people look at my cost per acquisition or cost per lead, they're young, not young by age, but young by in the business. I'll talk to a 50-year-olds that don't have the stomach. It's not about their age, it's about their acumen or their aptitude or appetite for spending. They're like, man, that's a lot to acquire a client. Well, we're looking at the lifetime value of a client. So, I can price myself into a market that most people can't. So if I think my lifetime value is $2,200, but it takes me 6 years to get that out of that client, well, I have the money now to lose money for 18 months to get that client. So I might be able to spend $500-600 to acquire that client, because I know I'm going to make that money on the back end. And I mean, if you don't think the biggest companies in the world are spending $1 million to make $1 million in one, they'll do that all day, because it's their brand building. And so it's all about someone's appetite for it. So the beginning of marketing is heavy. It's heavy, cheesy lead development in insurance. Like, a lot of people send out what we call BRCs or BRM. It's
what's that?
Reply. It's like a little white cards that these people send out that people fill out. And a lot of them they think it's from the government or something, because it looks super official, even though it says underneath it, not, affiliated with the government.
Yeah.
But it gives you a lead, and it gives you a permission to go and knock on the door or call them.
Mm-hmm.
Doing that and networking and knocking on businesses' doors. Those are things early on that I did that still pay dividends today, because you build those individual relationships with pharmacists or home and auto agencies that don't do what we do, or financial advisors that don't do the stuff we do. Those types of relationships still, I might have one that I started 8 years ago that's still referring somebody over to my office once a month. That's the kind of stuff that people don't get, and you get into. And I think it's pretty much any business, short of being like super private equity backed, because people that have like a lot of private equity, they can play the long game on marketing right from the get-go. But for most people trying to build a real business from scratch, you have more time than money in the beginning, so you have to commit your time to getting in front of people. And eventually, when you create revenue, you can start to make that revenue work for you to free up some of your time.
Yeah, that's great advice. I can wrap my head around the idea of like lifetime value, right? I have a recurring monthly subscription that we sell for like social media management. And like, I'm like, yeah, an average client's lifetime value is like north of $6,000 or higher, but I'm like, I don't know if I could spend $3,000 to acquire a customer.
Yeah. And the more customers you have, and the more you dial in the LTV, like the I mean, and this is, this already, but like for somebody else that's listening, if the more that if you got to the point where, hey, you're doing 10 million a year in revenue, well, then you might think, well, I'll spend $3,000 to get the $6,000, because I know in doing so, I'm also going to find some people that convert at, $500 or even zero, because of the referrals of the volume. So there's a lot of little hidden things that are hard to put a metric to, and so, but yeah, until you have like all this expendable revenue, it's hard to spend that, because, unless you have private equity, because, private equity, when they're building a business, they're
unlimited money.
Yeah, they're like, we'll tank for years, because we know one day we'll make it back. And, I honestly think, I get people always having to dial me in from being anti-private equity, but it does kind of kill like true raw business, because it's like you're not having to really build anything or operate like a business. But big businesses did that. I mean, any tech company, Facebook, Apple, they all did that. And it makes sense because they were able to not monetize their audience, so that they were able to build a more loyal core audience for a long, long period of time. And so, kudos to those private equity people that saw that. It just kind of sucks for somebody that can't go out and then convince Bain Capital to front them $200 million.
Yeah. Or I mean, even someone who wants to start their own business to borrow $100,000 just to have a little cushion and eat while they're working,
Yeah. Now I told somebody the other day, and I can't remember who I was talking to. They were talking about, if I could just borrow, $100,000, $200,000. And I said, hey, go out, beat the streets, do it the hard way and build some revenue. And once you have some revenue on the books that you can
pretty
show,
easy.
They'll start giving you money then, because it's an asset. They know you have money coming in, and they know they can take it from you if you quit paying for it. So, but you can get it. It's just like the typical guy off the street right now can't go borrow $100,000 or $200,000. But if he goes out and gets, $5,000-$10,000 in revenue a month, he can borrow $100,000. Because they'll be like, hey, the money's there. We can take that if we need to. We have collateral.
Mm-hmm. A lot of those loans, just like a word of caution, are not good. From experience.
Typically, I would say don't buy into it. Now, there are some times like where I've bet on myself. I haven't done it with loans, but early on I had a TSP from the military that had a bunch of money in it, and I took some heavy penalties to cash it out and invest into Facebook and broadcast TV.
Yep.
It paid off, but some stuff is a gamble, man. And it's a hard thing, like to be, it's hard to be the Dave Ramsey of entrepreneurship. Like,
absolutely.
Like, at some point, hey guys, you do have to make a big bet on yourself, and it might not work out, and you might lose a lot of money. It is what it is. That's just it's a very, very competitive world, and it worked for me. Thankfully, I've all of the bets that I've lost on have been after I had the money to lose it. So I was very fortunate that the first big financial bet in doing that paid off, and I then created the revenue to be able to gamble. But I'm pretty quick to try stuff now, and try. And like last year, we wanted to go into another market, and I tested this new TV approach in a metro area at like $20,000 a month, and then I kept trying it for about a year, and at the end of the year, we finally axed it. But I'd sink $240,000 into something that I probably got back, I don't know, 15, 20 grand of in sales. So it was a bad strategy. But now in my training other people, I can tell them to avoid what I did.
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
So, you always gain the information from it too.
Yeah. I'm not negating risk. I'm just like some of these high interest short-term loans. It's not even that you can't pay them or it's going to really kill you. It's just, it puts, like, you would have been better off having that revenue every month than paying them what happens to be. That's what happened with me. Yeah. But like when it does end up clearing away, you got a whole lot more revenue that you're a lot more profit that you weren't used to, which is kind of nice. And have you ever read like Profit First or any like, I'm reading it right now, that's why it's on my head, but I haven't
read Profit First, not that I recall.
It's a financial model for business owners, because most business owners, like, first of all, they don't know how to do accounting. They don't know how to manage their money properly. They don't, and I mean, like, how many stories you may have even gone through of like, a tax bill comes and you don't have the money, set aside or whatever. And then you're just like worried about how you're going to pay your taxes, or your accountant says you have a profit, but there's nothing in your bank account or something. Like, probably in the first couple of years of business, this types of thing happen. And the idea is like, you have like 5 different bank accounts that you set up. Like, one's for just income to come in, and then nothing goes out of that other than you distributing the money to the right buckets. Like, all the income comes in, 15% goes to tax, 50% goes to owner pay, or just owner comp, like 5% goes to profit. And then you have an OpEx account for operating expenses, payroll, just all the marketing that you do and all that type of stuff. But it's all like divisive and stuff. And I just discovered this because before I'm just like looking at my bank account. Do I have enough money to invest in this? Oh, sure. Yeah. What bills? I'm like guessing about what bills I have coming up, and it's been like a whole mess. So I'm like, you seem like you kind of got everything together. Like, I mean, I don't know if it's just years down the road and you've gone through this mess, or if you've just always had a good knack for that.
I will say my Marine Corps time, there was a tremendous amount of attention to detail that went into our job. We were doing like aviator flight logbooks, and we had this program called Marine Sierra Hotel Aviation Report Program. They wanted to call it M-Sharp, so they threw MSH on there. But it's the Aviation Report Program, and it was extremely detailed and like number tracking. And so I've had a pretty good, I guess, running ledger in my head. I'm not saying I haven't underthought or overthought, an expense before, like, oh yeah, we have this much or we don't, but for the most part, I've had a pretty good ledger in my head. The bad part about that is, and I'm now, I have people training and helping me take a lot of that side off my plate so I can spend more time making money in individual conversations or doing things like this that are I think more where my time has to be spent. But I did probably was a knack for that. Maybe came from my Marine Corps time, or maybe of course they placed me in that job. I didn't request that job, and they may have placed me because I had that knack, I guess, for attention to detail. But my dad originally was an accounting guy, so he was like he was a Lowe's accountant and a Sears accountant, and then he was I say carpet salesman Sears. He was a carpet salesman / account manager, so he would do like all that kind of stuff. So it may be a genetic thing there too, but I don't disagree with what you're saying. Like now we do have multiple entities, and so we don't have necessarily multiple checking accounts for each entity. But being able to get them all into kind of one, log in and see what's there. Thankfully now, we have this problem that most people say is not a problem, but like there's more money coming in than we know where to spend it to expand. Because I do believe in keeping money in motion, like most, the gurus say, like sitting in a savings account's not good.
It isn't good.
But we also are kind of like, well, where the hell do you want me to put it? Because I'm trying to grow the infrastructure enough to actually put the money to use that's coming in. So we may just be in an abundant state right now where
that's
money
awesome.
hasn't been, which is great.
Yeah.
But I hope when I do spend it and get back down and I put it back in motion, I'm trying to grab it back, that I'm not like, oh, I should have had 5 checking accounts.
I shouldn't have invested all that.
Yeah.
No, man, I'll tell you where to put it. You can put it in some Instagram growth and some because we have this program where we've been doing for a while. We do social media management too, where we're posting, creating content and all that stuff. And that's probably relatively inexpensively, less than $1,000 a month for what we do. On the basic side, we have some more like video repurposing is a little bit more higher end, but we have an Instagram growth thing where we're getting like 50 to 250 followers a week. And then we have a nice like conversational message that we send to them. It always goes through inbox, and then we can have a script that we go through and get them booked on calls with salespeople.
Wow.
Yeah. So I don't want to turn this into a sales call, but I'm telling you, man, if you're looking for places to put your money.
We do want to grow IG because on the agent side, that's where like a lot of the young agents that are coming to us are coming from IG. And TikTok is very difficult. It's not very difficult. Thing is, TikTok is very easy, but it's super unpredictable. Whereas Instagram seems like their algorithm is more dialed in. It's very competitive, but if you put in the work and you put in the content and you do what you're talking about, I think where you have, because I think I like know how to get followers, but it's the amount of time that it for us to spend on it is like nonsensical amounts of time. So I completely agree with, an IG growth hack, because the key, I think, is finding the right ones. There's a lot of people that will try to sell you like Indian followers.
Oh, exactly. No, it's all BS. And what we do is it's targeted to like a specific account, right? Like, so let's say there's a competitor who, like, it's more general terms. I'll have to like look at your business, see who the right person is. But like, let's say you have a restaurant, a Mexican restaurant, and then in the same town there's another Mexican restaurant. You go follow all their followers or interact with their followers. About 15% of them will come follow you back, right? Yeah. And then that 15%, if you actually like send them a message saying, "Hey, thank you so much for a follow. Here's $10 off your first order. Or here's a free empanada coupon." Next thing you know, you're getting traffic coming in your door. This is like for brick and mortar, but you can do this with any business. We're doing some really high ticket, $10,000 programs or $50,000 programs and stuff, and really making it work. And it's people choosing to follow you. It's not like buying an Instagram giveaway where you get 10,000 followers overnight. There's no buying fake Indian followers or whatever it happens to be. Which is
that. So what you're talking about is what we were spending some time doing. But again, it's our time. It's hard to say that I should spend my time doing it.
Oh, you shouldn't.
Hiring someone else to do it. One of the things we ran into is when you're targeting somebody else with a substantial following in your space, you got to make
followers.
You got to make sure they don't have Indian and Pakistani followers too.
Yep.
Because sometimes they will. Like we did that. We did it, and I'll definitely talk to you about it because it is something that is worthwhile for us. But we had somebody, I can't remember who it was, but it was a service, very similar concept. And they were like, "Hey, who do you want to target?" And we put who we wanted to target, and they started targeting those people. But they weren't discerning in their followers who was fake. Well, then I go and look at some of those people's followers, and I'm like, shit, this guy's followers is 75%, people from the Middle East. That have zero, they're following 1,000 people and they have zero followers. And so they're all like little fake accounts.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, well, I don't need those. And so like, actually, if you go through my IG following now, there's probably a couple of thousand of those following me.
Yep.
And I want to get them off of there because then I feel like that shadow bans my account or something. I don't know.
There's an issue with like your follower ratio to the amount of people that are interacting with your posts, right? So like if they're all fake accounts and they can't interact with your posts and they're considered to be a part of your following, and then let's say you have 10,000 followers and you're getting 100 likes, like that's probably not too good. You're trying to shoot for about 10%.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, I mean,
that's where we're at right now. Like,
exactly.
We're like, our reels will get up into like the recent ones we're hitting like between 100, 170 likes, but we're at like 12,100 followers. But there's a significant chunk of them that were fake. But it wasn't like we went out and said, give me a bunch of Indian followers.
Of course not. Yeah. I mean, a lot of these, like you said, there's industries that you can get into without taking a test. This is one of them.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Right.
Yeah, no, I agree. And it's like marketing is a great industry, and we do some marketing. We're very specific to health insurance agents, but it is funny because we have been ripped off by marketers because there's no litmus test for like which one. And by the same, there's technically insurance agents that suck too.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, you can get through a test and still suck at your job and do a terrible job. But at least there was that one little barrier to entry. But I know we're very interested in the quality approach, like finding the legit people. And because when I go through, like say I'm doing it, I can discern. I can go through a guy's. Let's say I'm going through John Smith's followers, who's in my niche, and I'm looking at them. Okay. Definitely real account, definitely real. I can even go and click on them and look at their follower to following ratio. And, that takes time. But I know exactly what you're saying, because when I've done that, I've had an extremely high. And I'd say my luck has been over what with insurance agents has been probably 40% of them maybe follow us back.
Yeah.
But that's with us discerning. And then when I see somebody that's like, it's not a race thing, but if I see like Muhammad Allah Akbar or something, and I
Yeah,
click
yeah,
on the thing, and he's got 0 followers and he's following 11,000 people, then I
yeah.
don't follow that guy. So,
Right. Exactly.
but no, we would be that would be something, because it's Instagram is crazy, the amount of like traction with younger, and I would say even younger. I think it's now to me, and you can correct me because you're the expert on this.
Yeah.
Seems like this is the platform for like 20 to 35-year-olds. Like it's like
Big
a
time.
heavy hit
Yeah,
for
big
20,
time.
which is a great market for recruiting a young entrepreneurial minded person from.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. We have our checklist to go through to see if they're legit or not and all that type of stuff too. But what's really big is being social and being in conversation and not just sitting like, it's not a direct response DM that you're sending to all these people. You know what I mean? You're actually like, hey, how's it going? Have
Does it wait until they follow you back?
Yeah, exactly. Because
I like that.
It goes right into their inbox. Otherwise it goes into their requests and stuff.
Yeah.
And another thing I was going to say about the likes to or engagement ratio to your following, it'd be better for you guys to have 1,000 followers and get 176 likes, because then you have the chances of going viral especially with reels right now. Whereas now the Instagram's like, oh, he's got like 1% engagement ratio, 2% engagement ratio, and these are the ones.
So would it be worthwhile to have you like somebody like you guys go through, clean those followers up too?
Yeah. And the thing is too, like we don't want your account to get blocked, there's a number of actions that you can take on your account without getting blocked and all that type of stuff. So we do it slowly but surely and do the right thing. Because that's what it comes down to. I mean, being real, it's like the same thing with your content. You don't want it to be fluffy and BS or whatever. It should be your same outreach strategy. It should be the same way with how you're getting followers and all that type of stuff. It should be all legit. And I know accounts that have 500 real followers and they are crushing it, crushing it with just those 500 followers.
Yeah. It's all about the engagement of that following. Yeah, I mean,
and the quality of the people that you know. Yeah,
so our biggest win on the agent side was we started a Facebook group
that's
early
awesome.
2018, and it's about it's right at it's 8,900 I think members right now, but it's very much insurance agents, health insurance focused agents, Medicare agents, so super high intent audience. And I've had trouble getting them to go over to Instagram because
I'm gonna give you a hack. I'll forget it if I don't tell you. You should create a second Facebook group where you go live once a week and answer questions and shit. And you charge them like $37 a month or like $29 a month. Or sometimes people charge like $69 or $97 a month. But like, imagine you got 10% of them. I mean, that's a sweet, like low, no hassle revenue stream.
People that have written me and said, hey, I love, because the group's called Medicare Gurus, but they're like, I love Medicare Gurus, but it's just so many people in there. Is there one you have for like, higher intent mastermind or people? Yeah. So people want that anyway. What we've done with it is we have the $97 a month, virtual learning platform, which is through Lightspeed. And
you're with Brad. It's awesome.
Yeah, we did Brad. So, and we, and one of the reasons I went with it is because we got on his podcast when we did. But he's a super interesting guy. But when we went on Lightspeed and did that, we made part of ours a weekly live coaching call. Mm-hmm. And that's a huge selling point to them because they want the real interaction. There's some people on there that I think have gone through all the content on the platform already and they don't cancel it because they want the
live coaching. Yeah, definitely.
And it's group coaching. There's typically right now we've been having about 30 to 40 people show up live on it. Yeah. There's a few hundred members of the Lightspeed paid system. But and it's a relative, we activated it with Lightspeed last well, we went and recorded in his studio in May, and I think we had it like up by late July or August. But that live call though, it's huge. You get those people on there, and now that we have the emails and text automated when it's going on and they're popping on, the engagement in there is really good.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, like even like one of your do it at a low, if that's $97 a month, do one for 27 or 37 and have like your top sales guy on your team, going over tips and tricks or whatever on that one. And then it's a stepping stone. Hey guys, if you want the training and a call with Justin, let's it's nice. It's only $97 a month. And like, let's say you get this for free too. Like include the $37 a month into the 97.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like I said, dude, even if you had 10%, and it's such a low ticket that it's like Netflix, people will forget about it. They'll hop on when they think about it, and you'll have the recordings.
And then we record a lot of the content out of there and recirculate it into, like when something's good is said, we try to comb through that and use it for reels or TikToks or so it's also just one more content generator.
Are you have someone that does that for you?
Yeah, we have a full-time videographer. We're actually looking to hire another videographer because he's so busy, like with long form content. Like I actually think would be worthwhile at this point for us to have somebody that solely focuses on TikToks, reels. All
right. We gotta have a chat for sure, man. Because I mean, we have an offering where you don't have to go and record any content for us. We take all of the long form content and find all the best clips. And we put the headline.
That's what somebody does for Brad.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what we do. That's exactly what we do. But we don't do the actual recording. Yeah.
He told me he's like, they just like literally he's videographers, and I still might hire another one just to have somebody, because like having all long form, like if I had somebody that just all day long created long form and then just dumped it into a shared drive and had somebody else that was just combing through it. Brad said he doesn't, like, they just post all that shit for him.
That's it. Yeah, and we do distribution to all 5 channels.
Oh, so when you say 5, TikTok, IG, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn. Oh, okay. Yeah. So we do some LinkedIn, but we have done very poorly on it.
Yeah, we do all the aspect ratios, make it all look nice, branded, all that type of stuff. That mixed with, like, I got a package where we include everything. We do some still graphics and that Instagram growth and outreach. I know we got to run, man. I'm sorry to keep you.
No, you're good. It's intriguing to me because these are pain points that we have in growth right now, because we want, like, people view us as probably the apex of content creation in our niche. But see, I don't look in our niche. The reason we started creating content is we look at other niches that have hit younger audiences. Right. And I know we can be like way better at it. But it's all about time and where do you spend your time and your money. So, and Brad said that when we were there. He said he's like, I have this agency in, I don't know, Seattle or somewhere. And he did, when I was there, like we had a meeting with him. I had one meeting with him, and then, we did his podcast, and then, on a meeting on the balcony with him where he's smoking cigars too. And all the time he's got people with videos just filming everything. Yeah. And and some of the reels that he has that went viral, like he had one that it was when I was there. One of them was where he said you want to make $1 million a year and you can't even make your breath smell good. He brought out his little spray mint stuff, green, and he said, I'm gonna show you a $500,000 tip right here. And he said, you're walking up to somebody to talk to him, hey, how you doing, Brad Lee? And that reel went, it went wild. He had a lot of traction on that one. That's funny. And I was there when he said that. But he's an interesting guy, man. I've been on some phone calls with that guy. He's out there. He's visionary for sure. But that was a tip that, like, and it's like, who do you find to do that? Because most marketing agencies have always wanted to sell me a huge website. And I'm like, we got a website. Like my website.
We don't do websites over here, man.
Yeah.
Actually, the reason I originally I was doing like, a lot of small businesses, like 3 posts a week, some story posts and stuff.
Yeah.
And then I called Brad. I paid for a coaching call with him, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, no, you have to quadruple your prices. You got to offer all 5 of these platforms. Your premium one's the only one that gives any sort of value when you're posting every day. You got to be posting twice a day here, 4 times a day here. This, and I wrote it all down. I created a package for it, and it's exactly what he said.
Yeah, you need to send me that, because it may be that before I hire another videographer, I just take, some of that budget or that budget and hire you guys to take what we're already filming and then chop that up, because then my guy can spend less time editing. He'll still edit the long form stuff, like our long YouTubes, but if we can get you guys to do all the like socials, the shorts, the TikToks, that stuff takes time, to sit down and find those clips. So,
and even posting it takes time. I mean, like when we're posting twice a day for people, I'm like, I've got someone hired just like going on and posted, because like a lot of the stuff you can't schedule like you could with like an Instagram post or a Facebook post back in the day.
Yeah.
Now it's like you got to be on the phone, putting everything in, and then like we also have like copywriters and stuff who are like really good at what they do and writing content. They've researched your industry. They know exactly how to speak in your tone.
Writing like the portions under the all kind of stuff, and they're hashtagging it and all that. I mean, they
all that. Yeah, exactly. And like I said, we want to do things right, but yeah, man, I think this would be like huge for you, especially like what you're looking to do.
We know that. I know that. So when I started the group in 2018, it was right. It was super ripe, because in the group still dude, that thing organically brings in 10 new people a day, and they're giving me their emails and everything when they come in, and and if they're watching this, I love you all, and we're gonna we're not whoring you out. We're only trying to find people we can help. But the thing is they're creating, it's a huge lead cultivator. But we have it's crazy, man. When we set up Medicare Con, our conference, last year, we created a Facebook group called Medicare Con Info Group. Well, because it's called Medicare Con and the conference is getting traction, and people are hearing about the conference that don't even know who I am. And when they go to search for it, they're finding the info group. So we threw on a thing asking for emails to join it, and now it's generating 2, 3, 4 a day. But those are leads. But what I know is, and we love long form content. And when I first started YouTube, I feel like long form content was what they're looking for. But now it really seems like IG Reels, TikToks, YouTube Shorts is like a game changer. That's what they're looking at, because and I might need some IG cleanup on the front end because of that damn targeting that guy with all the fake followers. I should have went and looked at his following first. It was like super fake following. I was like, damn, dude, would you buy 60,000 Indian followers? But we need the creation of that short content is, I think, huge right now. I think I heard Gary V or somebody tell somebody the other day, and Gary, I used to love him. Now now every now and then I like what he says, but other times I'm like, please stop talking about NFTs. But he said the other day that right now you should be posting 4 TikToks a day. I was like, Jesus Christ, dude. So, but I think IG Reel, with them playing them on Facebook now, has even more potential than TikTok. So
yeah, we for this package we do like 40 clips. So we do 2 a day, Monday through Friday, because someone needs to be in the office. I'm not having my team come in on a Saturday and Sunday. But 2 a day on TikTok and Instagram. And then we do 1 YouTube video a day, whether it's a short or a 3-minute or whatever. Cause we'll find like a nice 3-minute clip of your long form content or something. And then we'll also post to the right aspect ratios to Facebook and LinkedIn. And yeah, I mean, he's probably right. You should be doing 4 on TikTok if you like, because it's like playing the lottery type of thing. You got the more tickets you buy, the slightly chance you're going to go viral more.
No, I agree. And but I'm very interested. So please follow up with me on that. And it's good information. man, because like, and even for a podcast, like, these are the talks that, we have behind the scenes. Like, this is the kind of stuff that I'm actually, thinking about, like, how do I, where do you spend your time and your energy and money, and this is like a way to take some of the money and like basically cultivate things you're already doing, because like we have so much long form video content and we just don't have the manpower to scrub it. So
yeah. Yep. That's exactly the pain point we're solving for sure, man. I got like one question. I got two questions for you before we sign off here. Just we went off our own tangent. So, sorry, listeners. I hope you liked it anyway. But the listeners should be doing this stuff anyway too. Like, if you guys are trying to build a brand, this is exactly what you should be doing. Whether you're hiring me to do it or if you're creating all the content yourself. I mean, you got to be everywhere. And
it's very, very, very competitive right now, and you either have to, again, it comes down to, do you have more time than you have money? Because if you have a whole lot of time, you can spend some of it creating a lot of content. That's right. In the long run, it does pay off, because, and I'm proof of that at a small level. And again, you don't have to have millions of followers. Like, we have a group with 8,900 agents in it. I have 48, almost 5,000 YouTube subscribers, very organic. The IG is a little weird because it's 12,100, but it's probably really like 6,000 or 7,000, like really quality. And then like 2,000 are like friends and family locally. And then there's like 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 of these weird accounts. But there's some quality on there, and it's starting to pick up because we did do a little bit of what you guys are doing. I just don't have the time to do it like, repetitively. But even TikTok, we got a little bit of a small following, but those small groups of following have turned into a, definitely without the insurance side, the training portion of it, monetizing that audience, is probably a $1.5 million revenue business.
Yeah, come on,
the side without our insurance commissions. So it's nothing to laugh at, and that's with a small following. Imagine if we had 10 times that.
Exactly. And it compounds, you keep growing at 250 or 100 followers a week, and then those start to grow even bigger because more people are following you and they see the engagement. Yeah, it's insane, man. It really does work. It does take time though. It's not like an overnight thing. It's it's kind of like SEO, right? Yeah,
it is. It's like, I'd say SEO is, what the thing is, like, if your following gets big enough, SEO almost corrects itself, because
that's right.
Enough people are Googling you, then Google's going to be like, oh shit, these people are relevant. And then they're going to start throwing your sites up there that used to, like, honestly, like Brad Lee may not even focus on SEO, but I'm sure he's getting Googled enough to where his SEO score is probably great, just because Google they know where his real site is. But if nobody's looking you up, I actually saw a Neil Patel article probably a year ago now, where he was trying to tell you in your marketing to, instead of telling people to go to your website, tell them to Google you. So like,
I haven't never thought about that. That's good.
So in your advertisements, you put like a Google bar up in the like say you do a YouTube short, put a little Google bar up in the YouTube short and make it look like, hey, this is the Google search bar, and then search Justin Brock insurance or something like that.
That's cool.
And then when you do that, you're training Google to Justin Brock insurance is a relevant search term, because people all over the country are searching for it.
That's good, man. You know what? I'll follow up with you. We'll wrap this up here, man. I really do appreciate you coming on the show. This is fun, man. I got a little insight about what you do, and hopefully help some people out. I mean, there's a lot of people out there like looking for the next thing that they should be doing or going after. So insurance might be it.
And it's a great residual builder, and then it gives me the residual income to reinvest into things like what we're talking about, so that we can build our brand bigger. A lot of businesses are hard to reinvest because the money's here and then gone. We build, level residual style continuity based businesses that just get bigger and bigger because you're getting paid for years for something you did one time. So it's pretty cool. So it is a great industry. And when somebody needs an industry to get into, it's probably, one of the easiest ones to get started. I'm not saying it's easy to be a hyper successful, but it's easy to get into it and find people and start networking. And we love anybody that's on your podcast to check us out. You can go to justinbrock.com and check us out, because that's kind of the gateway.
They got to Google Justin Brock insurance.
Google Justin Brock insurance,
yeah.
Please. For real. It does work. If you Google Justin Brock insurance, and if I come up number 2, then that means you guys need to Google it more.
Yeah, keep on Googling it. And they can reach out to you on Instagram and stuff too, and if they need some help or getting started.
Absolutely. Yeah, Instagram at the Justin Brock.
Cool. Yeah, man. Thank you so much for being on. I'm not trying to sell anyone anything. I'm just trying to help people with this podcast. So I'm going to ask them, I'm like, your payment is to go and share this out with someone who you think could use this information, and leave a review so we can get more people like Justin on here. Cause that's where we get the values from people.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you so much for listening, guys. Thanks for being on the show, Justin. And until next time, I'm going to
Thanks.
stop recording. Yeah.